It was bad. I was in a wheelchair and I was in a wheelchair for a long time. And then I developed neuropathy from the waist down. So I couldn't feel anything. Dude, I was peeing down my leg. I couldn't feel the bottom of my feet. So I was in a wheelchair and got Bell's palsy. So the left side of my face drooped. I got facial paralysis. I believed the Lyme doctors. I thought it was the way. I went and I got in a pick line. And then I was doing intermuscular shots. Was it by Axon? Telling me that I was herxing. And now I don't realize I was herxing. My body was saying, get this poison out of me. You're killing me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Then within like 2, 3 weeks, just this whole left side of my face just drooped, like everything. Like
Yeah.
my lip was down like this, everything. I felt terrible. And then probably about 3 weeks later, I started getting tingling in the bottom of my feet. I'd sometimes get it in my legs and feet occasionally, and then in my
Yeah.
face. And then it just went to where it completely took over, and I lost all feeling from the waist down. Like I couldn't put like any pressure on my feet or anything. You could take a baseball bat to my legs, and I couldn't feel them. And the doctors had no idea what it was. I couldn't play Xbox. I couldn't watch TV. I just curled up in a ball with a blanket, ready to die.
Welcome, everybody. I got the healing dudes with us today. And well, first, welcome. Nice to have you
Thanks,
guys.
Scott. Thanks. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you having us on again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Anytime. So I
Yeah.
wanted to go deeper dive because sometimes, when we do some of these interviews, we kind of glance over a couple of symptoms and we
Yeah.
kind of glance over what a person did, but we don't, I want to go more detail because I know people complain like, well, I don't really know what they had. And I
Yeah.
like talking about symptoms. And also I like to cover what a person did on a Tuesday or a Thursday during this journey, because I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
matters. While you're in the trenches, what did you go through? What did you feel? Right? Were you dealing with blah blah blue, and how did
Yeah.
you handle it?
Yeah. Yeah, for
So let's
sure. I
do a
think it's so
recap.
important. Yeah.
Let's do a recap. We'll
Yeah.
start with Joe. What were your some of the well?
Yeah.
I have a long list, but you go ahead. You can start
Yeah.
rhyming them off, and then
Yeah. So I dealt with chronic depersonalization, derealization, dizziness, vertigo, tons of like vision problems, visual snow, after images, um, depression, anxiety, panic disorders type of stuff. And then I also dealt with things like anhedonia, which I don't know if you know what that is, man. It's like you can't feel anything. Anhedonia is basically like you can't even feel sad,
oh,
anxious or anything. It's like everything is just gone.
I
You
call
know,
it the
Oh,
nothingness.
yeah, it's the nothing. It's so awful. But
Oh
that's
man,
from
so those are
story.
some of the cognitive things I dealt with, like muscle twitches, tremors, all sorts of weird sensations in my brain from like buzzing and like numbness and stuff like that. Muscle weakness, pain, joint pain, terrible fatigue.
what about like muscle fatigue?
Yeah, yeah, I dealt with that a lot. Yeah, there were times when I could barely lift my like arms over my head. You know what I mean? That like that type of stuff. And then I lost a lot of like I had a lot of like atrophy
Yep.
in my legs and in my body from like not moving for many years when I was really sick.
Hmm.
That I had to build that strength back up. Um, yeah, and like I said, like lightheadedness. Oh man, I don't even know. Tons of digestive issues, tons of digestive issues like cramping, bloating, pain, food sensitivities,
Right.
POTS.
IBS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. IBS type symptoms, couldn't eat certain foods, things like that. Heart issues, heart palpitations, POTS, things. Pretty much it affected my entire body. Like literally everything that you could think of. Um, but I think, Josh will probably say the same thing, and I don't know about you, Helmet. Like the brain stuff it was always the worst. The chronic DPDR, the vertigo, the anxiety, the anhedonia. Like for me, that was always like I can deal with the physical stuff, I can deal with pain, I can deal
Yeah.
with fatigue, I can deal with weakness. Like, but when I was at my sickest and like, my brain was so jacked up, that's when it was tough. And that's what I was like focused on mostly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you have the looping thoughts?
Oh yeah, yeah, just racing thoughts like OCD and just man, like even like intrusive type thoughts, like dark, intrusive type thoughts where it would be like, man, is this like I can't even believe I'm like thinking this type stuff. But yeah, yeah, I had a lot of that as well.
Okay, so we got you somewhat covered. Let's go to Josh and get it. I'm assuming yes, the exact same copy and paste, but I also had
Yeah, I mean, Joe and I, that's kind of how we connected is symptomatically. We were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
When we met, we were both kind of just laying on the couch, sick, playing Halo, and
yeah, nice.
yeah, I mean, for me, I became full-blown agoraphobic. I mean, I was a network engineer before. I flew around the country for work.
Mhm.
Didn't have any issues at all, and went from that to just full-blown agoraphobia. My anxiety was off the charts. I couldn't be left home alone. I had terrible, terrible air hunger where I just felt like I wasn't breathing. I called 911 multiple times because of that.
Yep.
Weakness, terrible derealization and depersonalization for that whole time.
Yeah.
I felt like I was not in my body.
Yeah.
I didn't feel connected. Same thing. I had wicked heart palpitations. I was 3 weeks out from actually getting a pacemaker. Thank
Yeah.
God that did not happen.
They were gonna
POTS,
give you a fucking pacemaker.
yes, dude, at
Yeah.
31 years old. I mean, my palpitations were so bad. Like it wasn't just like I would occasionally get a skip. My heart was beating all
Yeah,
over the.
it's something like a drummer. It's like like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
then
So
delayed fucking yeah. I've been there.
yeah, so I went to an
Wow.
electrophysiologist, and he suggested that I get a pacemaker. I just wanted
Did
it
you
to
have
stop.
tachycardia also, like high
Yeah. Oh my
heartbeat rate?
God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's even to this point. I mean, it's traumatic. It's difficult to talk about.
Yeah,
But yeah, multiple times to the heart, to the hospital with my heart rate through the roof. There's been other times where it's bradycardia and it's dropping down in the 40s and 50s. So
Yeah.
just all kinds of cardiac
well,
symptoms.
let's talk about this because this is really, I really want to. I'll get you to finish the symptom talk. But did you have pain in your chest, stabbing pains?
Oh
Every
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
every day.
I
I
had the
gone to the
same.
ER for that too. Went to the
Yeah.
ER for that too.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
had
pain in the
I,
chest. We'll go. Yeah, go ahead.
I had something too. Yeah, have you ever heard of costochondritis or whatever? It's like
That's what they
chest.
diagnosed me with the
Yeah,
chest
it's
wall
like chest
inflammation.
wall pain. Yeah, it's like inflammation in your chest wall that feels like you're being stabbed in the chest, but it's not
Yeah.
actually necessarily your heart. It's like it's musculoskeletal. So I don't.
Skeletal. And I think that's what a lot. So when we sit like this, or when we're stagnant, when we're having that, all of the weight, the way the doctor described it to me, he's like, you're not having a heart attack. All the weight and all like we hold tension right here,
Oh,
like where the
tension.
gauge of tension
Yes.
is. So yeah, like I was diagnosed with the same thing, and he's like, you can't keep coming here for this. It's you have chest inflammation. So it would be that, and it was very, very severe. So I'd be convinced I was having a heart attack all the time. Then naturally the depression creeps in because I was agoraphobic.
Yeah.
At my worst, dude, I was so agoraphobic that I couldn't get off the couch, and even to go to the bathroom, like I was terrified. I was terrified to move because I thought I was going to die, because my heart was always doing funky things.
Right.
And
Another question.
yeah,
I noticed this. Just because some people are particular, they might be like, "Did you did you check your heart rate a lot? Did you check your pulse a lot?"
Yeah.
yeah, here I have, when people say like I'm the champion, so I had two blood pressure cuffs and I had
Yep.
three oximeters. So I would constantly, and I had my Apple Watch. So I was
Yeah.
constantly checking heart rate. So I'd stick an oximeter on so I could check my breathing and my heart rate. And if I didn't like the reading that I was getting on one, I would put it on another, and I take the best out of three,
Right.
and then I put a blood pressure cuff on my left. And this is what our minds do to us. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I put a blood pressure cuff on my right arm and a blood pressure cuff on my left arm, and I would take my blood pressure. And I would do it obsessively because I was constantly obsessed. If I went anywhere, my hand was always here taking my pulse of my foot.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
I
Things we
had
do, man.
my problem was that I would put my finger there and I wouldn't feel a pulse. It was very faint. It felt like I was in the next room. And that
Yeah.
fucked me
Yeah.
up. I'm like,
Yeah.
normally if I just because I used to run around the room just to fucking bring it on, let's go. So I'd run around the room and I'd feel dun 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 dun, but then nothing. Like
Yeah.
normally you're used to going dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun, and for some reason it's faint. So that got me wondering what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's like your heart not working. Yeah, I get
Right.
that.
And then of course
Yeah.
after I did the mind body blah 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 blah, it's like boom 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 boom. Like it works
Yeah.
back to normal. But I think this is
Yeah.
also where the POTS can come in.
Yeah.
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 I think the POTS, from what we've seen, nervous system dysregulation plays a large role in that. And for me, It was bad. I was in a wheelchair and I was in a wheelchair for a long time. And then I developed neuropathy from the waist down. So I couldn't feel anything. Dude, I was peeing down my leg.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I couldn't feel the bottom of my feet. So I was in a wheelchair and got Bell's palsy. So the left side of my face drooped.
Yeah.
My
that's
vision.
yeah, we got to talk about that because there's people out there that have that and they're right, they're going down the rabbit holes
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's not good to go down the rabbit holes.
they're like, I'm injured. I did this, that, and the other. I'm injured now, and I knew it was a nervous system thing, and it's good to finally get somebody to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of things. And this is the thing is that I've come across this after being sick for 20 years. And as we've done this work with people, there'd be hard pressed for me to find another person that hasn't had a symptom that I didn't experience, unless it's obviously female related. I haven't experienced those for obvious reasons. But yeah, I got facial paralysis. I believed the Lyme doctors. I thought it was the way. I went and I got in a pick line, and then I was doing intermuscular shots. Was it Biaxin or I can't remember
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I was
Bicycling, probably.
Bicillin. I was
Yeah. Yeah. I
doing
did
an
the same thing
intermuscular
too.
shot
Yeah. Yeah.
of that. And when I started doing it, they were telling me that I was herxing. And now I don't realize I was herxing. My body was saying, "Get this poison out of me. You're killing me."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Within like 2, 3 weeks, just this whole left side of my face just drooped, like everything. Like
Yeah.
my lip was down like this, everything. I felt terrible. And then probably about 3 weeks later, I started getting tingling in the bottom of my feet. I'd sometimes get it in my legs and feet occasionally, and then in my
Yeah.
face. And then
Yeah.
it just went to where it completely took over, and I lost all feeling from the waist down. Like I couldn't put like any pressure on my feet or anything. You could take a baseball bat to my legs and I couldn't feel them, and the doctors had no idea what it was. And
So
that went on.
when you're going through these symptoms, obviously your survival state is gonna fucking go through the roof because the symptoms become our trauma. You're
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
thinking you got MS. I'm sure you went down the ALS rabbit hole with this shit. Uh, so
I
Bell's
was
pal-
diagnosed.
so what were you feeling at that time? Were you going
I
down?
was
You're going, I gotta
terrified.
have something. Yeah,
I literally, so they had me on a bunch of different meds. I was on Lamictal, Lyrica, Ativan, and maybe Paxil. I don't know. They had me so doped up, and literally I couldn't play Xbox. I couldn't watch TV. I just curled up in a ball with a blanket, ready to die.
yeah,
Yeah.
And not knowing like when this was going to pass, like some days I was sleeping 19 hours a day, like just getting up
yeah,
and getting help to go pee because I'd lost that, mobility and the independence to do that. I had to have someone help me shower. I couldn't get a home healthcare nurse, but literally all independence and just to go out to show people to relate, like we've all lost a lot of stuff. I lost my house, my cars, my career, everything. Like we've had to file for bankruptcy, all while I'm curled up in a ball, sick on the couch, not able to do anything for myself at all. I couldn't get up and cook my own meals,
yeah.
like I couldn't get supplements, and it really took a hard hit to there. And there was a whole lot of other symptoms, visual disturbances, visual snow, everything looked
Yeah.
blurry. I felt like I don't know if you've ever seen What Dreams May Come. They're in that painting part, and that's kind of what I felt like I was living in
Yeah.
um, all of the time. And the anxiety was so severe, I couldn't drive, I couldn't be around people,
Yeah.
like no stimulation, bright lights. I always wore sunglasses inside. I've always been a cool guy, but I was even cooler then when I was laying on the couch with sunglasses.
Yeah.
But just a whole myriad of symptoms. And then the biggest one ended up being, the heart stuff, the air hunger, and then like Joe was saying, the derealization, depersonalization, and constant anxiety. I did have terrible fatigue. I would wake up and need to go back to sleep right away. Muscle soreness, joint inflammation.
Yeah.
I mean, dry mouth. I would
Yeah.
go through times of not having hunger and losing a lot of weight. GI issues. Then I'd balloon up. I ballooned up to 260 pounds. That could have been a medication. But yeah,
Wow.
just lots and lots of
What
health
about
issues.
like sexual dysfunction? Any sexual issues?
I couldn't even tell, dude, I couldn't even feel it. Like when I tell you I was
Yeah.
peeing down my leg, like but yeah,
Right.
there was a period down there, like honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I just didn't even have the drive or
Yeah.
energy for
Yeah.
any of that. Like just, it was the
I
last thing.
I went through a phase where it was giving me dopamine hits to masturbate, but
Yeah.
half the time I couldn't get it up. The other half,
Yeah.
after like 2 seconds ejaculation, right? It was like
Yeah.
a fucking right. I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? My body,
Yeah.
like my also my chest, my muscles are fatigued. They feel like they're this big or like everything's and this isn't working. I'm like, what do I got? I got nothing. I can't even do that. And I was good
Uh-huh.
at doing that, right? Brutal.
It's so
So it's
crazy.
crazy what it
Yeah.
affects all the things, right? All
It
the
really
crazy things.
does. Yeah. Yeah, it really
Yeah.
does. I had the same thing, and like some of when I first got sick, the medication, I think I was on Paxil, and that causes like sexual dysfunction and all that stuff too. Some of those
Yep.
antidepressants, and dude, I that was like the first and kind of like the last time I ever really took an antidepressant. So, I had all the depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. Anytime I would like even try to put one of those things in my body, it would just reject it. And I would have
Yeah.
all sorts of different side effects and stuff like
Or
that. Yeah, and so it was horrible. Like I occasionally used like Xanax as a band-aid when the anxiety and the panic were so bad, I was like, okay,
Mm.
finally I give in, I gotta do something. But like for the most part, I just kind of raw dogged, anxiety and depression for a while because anytime I would try to take anything as well for it, it would cause
Even
more.
supplements. I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
take
even supplements.
magnesium, nothing.
Yeah, same. When I was like really sick, like when I relapsed 3 years ago, because my story, if other people saw the other one, like I healed, got better, and went back to working. I got Lyme in 2005, and then healed and went back to work and all that sort of stuff. And then I relapsed 3 years ago after COVID. Like it was like that for like 6 months or so. Anything I put in my body, even if it was a supplement like magnesium or whatever, it was like my
Yeah.
body would just reject it. It was like I was like having like what Josh said, like a Herx reaction, but it's not. It's just like my nervous system and my body were like
yeah.
so overwhelmed and overtaxed that anything that I put in my body just completely rejected, and caused way more, inflammation and symptoms, so it's pretty crazy.
Adding on to those
Yeah.
symptoms too for me, like mast cell,
There you
I
Yeah.
go.
was the
Yes.
EMS, like, and this is all stuff that I don't even deal with anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge, mold, like all of that. The best way to describe it is I woke up every single day. If I slept, or sometimes I slept too much, and I felt like I was crawling out of my skin. The way that Joe and I describe it is like you take your tongue and you stick it in the electric socket and you're stuck
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no pause button.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just keeps going. It's like the way that my doctor described it, and dude, I never realized this metaphor. He told me, he's like, your adrenaline and cortisol. He's like a normal person, they get it in doses. He's like your foot is to the floorboard, and you're there. The highway is endless. Like you just keep
Yeah.
going, like pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. And it wasn't until now that I just realized, like, yo, he was right.
He
But
was
it
right.
wasn't
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing he was going to give me that was going to take that away. Like I'm the medicine. Like I'm the one that has to fix that. So.
Yeah.
So you were also, what was your route? Was it the same as Joe's with the medications, or did you get on something?
The root cause or
No, did you get on, because he said he couldn't take anxiety pills because it just wasn't, or supplements.
Yeah.
Were you on them?
yeah, so I part of my struggle is I was often on antidepressants for a long time, and this
Yep.
is where I have heavy objection to them. One, clinical studies show that they're not very effective past placebo. We got that from a psychologist, and I've known that. My wife's a psychiatric
Yeah.
nurse.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, in the very beginning, I saw a very, what most people would consider brilliant Lyme doctor, and I don't consider most Lyme doctors brilliant anymore. And I say that with absolute faith. They took
Yeah.
a lot out of my pockets, and they never gave me my life back, um, using methods that aren't proven in science. But
Yeah.
anyways, whole nother
Yeah.
tangent. They put me on Ativan, which is a benzodiazepine, and they put me on a very high dose. And I had
Oh,
no idea what it was. At that time, I was a good boy. I believed in the medical system. I was like, let me take it. A couple years in, I realized my body is completely dependent on this drug. Like I'd never abused it for once. So now I'm currently tapering off a drug that I've been on for 20 years. And did it help? Absolutely not. Like it made things worse. Every 4 hours, my body goes into withdrawal from it. So there's a lot of people that we deal with that go
Yeah.
through benzo withdrawal. But I mean, it's for anybody out there that's listening, if your doctor's trying to throw those medications at you, run for the hills. There's a reason to
Yeah.
outlaw.
Yeah.
do you notice any patterns with coming off of it? Do you notice that when okay, I go down a little bit, everything goes skyrockets, I move through it, and then I go down a little bit more. Is there any patterns to this that you can kind of
Yeah,
see?
that's basically so I'm doing like a water titration method. So it's very, very, very subtle, But yeah, absolutely. Like there's it's a wild ride. It's been just as wild as my Lyme journey. Sometimes there was a couple months ago, I'm calling Joe, telling him like, dude, my face is numb and my feet are numb again. Like I don't know what's going on. And it was related to the withdrawal from medication. But as I started to get better from the Lyme and started to heal, not completely, but working my way there, I was like, let me get off this medication. I'm holistic, I don't take medications unless it's an emergency. I might take an antibiotic, but it's not serving me a purpose. It's making me worse. So the memory issues that I had with Lyme were becoming exacerbated more because of the medication. And I realized that a lot of people in the chronic illness community are stuck on a benzodiazepine. And that's one of the things we do in classes. I think that the same work that I use for my nervous system is the same work that I use for when I'm coming off of these very, very, very slowly.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think it's the same thing. It's just finding that that I guess that routine that works for you. And the thing is, every time you go down, you're expecting you know the shit to hit the fan, and it's
Yeah.
ex it's almost needed. It's almost like here we go, and yes, I need it to be fucking hell on earth right now. It's right. It's almost like a pattern that we need to have. And some people might be like, "Oh, I feel worse," so then they don't keep going. They stay where they are because people interpret more symptoms as a bad thing. They're doing the wrong thing, and it's an
Mhm.
indicator that they're not moving forward. So that could
Yeah.
be right a big thing to be aware of for some people with any symptom, with anything, right? For
Yeah.
me, I see it a lot of people. They give up, they quit because they
Yeah.
think, well, fuck, I'm doing the wrong thing. So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to detoxing. I'm gonna go back to healing the gut. I'm gonna go back to blue, blue, blah, blue, blue, fill in the blank.
Yeah, those the symptoms can be so scary, and I don't know much about what you guys have gone through with like benzodiazepine withdrawal, but the symptoms can be so scary that when people start experiencing more symptoms, they're just like, this is not working. This is wrong. I shouldn't be feeling this way.
yeah,
This is not working for me. But you guys are missing something. I'm missing something. And then they go back to, well, let me go see doctor after doctor and try this supplement and this pill. And it's like, sorry, man, you're going to be back here at some point because this is the ultimate way, and you have to go through some uncomfortable symptoms and sensations to get better. You just do. But there's beauty on the other side of it, at least, when it comes to, nervous system healing and all this stuff. I mean, I've gone through, I think all three of us can say we've gone through hell and back
Yeah.
multiple times where you're like, man, am I even going to be here next year, like next week, next month type of deal? And then look, we're all here. We're all living,
I
we're
think
all
it's almost compared
yeah.
to somebody, you hear some of the stories that people they recover some of their symptoms, they turn them off within like 6 months or whatever. And then you have, other people 3 years. I think I'd rather be the guy that took longer because
Yeah.
I really learned some shit and it's going to help
Yeah.
me for the rest of my life compared to the guy that recovered, but they have no clue what the fuck they just did.
I actually don't even believe in the 6 month thing, to be honest with you. And I
Yeah.
have a real big problem with that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
can talk about that for a second. I believe that there's a lot of, and I'm quotations, practitioners out here that have these outlandish stories. We even know someone that said they got better overnight. And
Oh,
I just, you
Yeah.
know, it's just I've never seen it. As we deal with more and more people, it is something like 6 months is you're just scratching the surface, like
Yeah.
of
you're
getting
just learning. You're just
comfortable.
barely reading the shit. You're like, okay, so
Yeah,
what do
Yeah.
I, right? And they're
yeah,
saying that come on, they're full of shit. And a lot of the gurus out there, especially the mind body people, I see a lot of them on Instagram,
Oh, yeah.
TMS coaches. I would say about 80% of them are not there yet,
Yeah.
but they're
No,
no,
claiming they are.
I
it's
know they're not
not.
there
It is
yet.
not. We talk about this all the time. They put on a fake smile because it sells. Like it's the
Yeah.
inauthenticity sells. Like they put on a smile and they got nice makeup on and they're dancing around with mountains in the background and they make
You
everything
said
sound
mountains. I was just going to talk about. Okay, keip going, keep going. Yeah, yeah.
But they paint this scenario of things being beautiful. Healing sucks, healing's ugly, healing's difficult, but it gets you to a beautiful place. It
Yeah.
absolutely does. So I think that you have a lot of these people that sell this idea that it's beautiful and it's peaceful, and we'll use these pastel colors to make it seem more calm,
Yeah.
and it sells more programs. But no, we tell people get ready to walk through hell. Get
Yeah.
comfortable with being
Yeah,
uncomfortable for a little bit,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and that's the only way through. You said something, and I use this all the time, Helmut, is you said fear is your compass. So,
Yeah.
obviously when you walk into fear, there's no part of walking into fear that feels good. Like
Yeah.
you feel liberated when you get to the other side. But going
Yeah.
through it, there's this illusion that you're in all this danger and you have all these symptoms that come up, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
it gets my motor going when I see these people painting it as something beautiful and like
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
already completely healed, man. It's a
Well, there's two
process.
two things I want to say about that. First thing is, yes, I understand. Like when I'm regulated, symptoms are gone. But when I have a stressful week, I have
Yeah.
two dogs that are alive. I have two parents that are alive. What something goes, my nervous system is going to
Hmm.
skyrocket. I'm going to have symptoms. But the
Yeah.
difference is I'm able to move through it now compared to before.
Yep.
I was stuck in a chronic state. Symptoms started to pile up. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Now I can move through it. So that's the difference. But some of these people are some of these gurus are still stuck. And what pisses me off, this is what I really hate. And some of the big ones, right? Some of
Yep.
them that put the name a doctor in front of their name, they think that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
qualifies for
Yeah.
whatever, and they
Yeah.
have the mountains and they need a new roof. They need a new pool. So what do? They put out fear campaigns. So what do
Yeah.
they say? If you don't activate the vagus nerve, you're not on track to recover. And I
Yeah.
see that shit. I'm like, you're a fucking liar. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Exactly.
And then you see their comments, right? They say the word activation, and I'll send you the link to. And then everybody's like, oh my god, because you know where you were at,
Yeah.
right?
Fear
When you're
sells,
freaking
man.
out, you're scared, and you scroll and you see one of these things. If you don't change your core beliefs, if you don't dig for trauma, if you
Yeah.
don't fucking activate the vagus nerve, you will not recover, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh fuck,
Did
I
you
need
guys
to,
do
I
any
need
of
to,
that?
I need to buy this thing. I need
Yeah.
to spend my money on them and do more fixing and open a can of full bullshit and be activated
Yeah.
and fucking freaking out that I got to fix this other thing and spend money while this
Yeah. I
prick
just,
decides to get a new fucking roof and makes $500,000 a month. Do you know what I mean? That
yeah,
pisses me off because that's
it
not
does.
authentic. She's a
Yeah.
fucking liar, and that's not cool.
Yeah, no, I agree, man, and that's the problem that we have is that like kind of like you said the fear sells, and I think here's what happens, and I hope I'm never going to go down this path. I know Josh is never, and I don't believe you are. You know,
Nope.
even these people, even the big ones, they have at the very beginning they feel like okay, I want to help people. I've struggled. I want to help people, but then there's a shift, and I don't know when it happens. I don't know if it happens when you start. You know, getting all this ego hits from more money or whatever, and it shifts to how can I make more money? I really believe
Some
that
people are money driven.
yeah,
It
people,
is.
I can see it. Might be addictive. Like, oh my God, I can buy my BMW. I can fucking get my fingers. I can, oh my God, I can, right? I can see how some people are addicted, but for me, I can't. I wouldn't be able to live with myself
yeah,
telling
exactly.
people, all these sick people, you cannot recover unless you activate your vagus nerve. That's a
Yeah.
fucking complete lie, and it's bullshit.
Yeah. It is, it really is.
And this is one of the things that Joe and I talked about a lot. And our thing is, we're never going to go to war with this, but a call to be authentic, especially
Yeah.
in this. When you're dealing with sick, desperate people that
Yeah.
know there's a level of integrity. So if you're buying followers and all these accounts that we're talking about, hey, I know y'all are buying followers. Like I got no, no, like I know. I've been in the social media game a lot longer than people have, and
Yeah.
it's obvious and it's not authentic. And I guess that's the reason that it upsets us so much is because we get all these people that come in
They
and
come
they'll
to
just
us from those
yeah, and
programs,
they're
and I'm
like
sure
it
the same
didn't
thing
feel
happens to your
authentic.
helmet.
And
Yeah.
I think the heart was right in the beginning. And I can never judge another person's heart, but I do believe that once you start tasting that money, like you want more and you want more and you want more. And that's one thing Joe and I always said at the beginning of this. We're always going to be ourselves. Like I'm not going to I'm going to sit here and eat chips when I'm on your podcast, dude, because it's who I am. Like and
Yep.
Joe's going to be
The healthy
himself.
chips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right,
Yeah.
right here. Right here. These things right here. These are good. The lesser evil
Oh,
paleo.
paleo, nice.
Yeah, but here's the thing is we're never going to switch up with who we are and we're never going to become so consumed with making money because dude, we could go buy followers. We could go Joe's fantastic with the art part and doing this and we could put on this campaign and scare people in to make more money, but it's not authentic and that's what we don't want to do. So we've been patient. We're trusting that by doing this the right way, that having integrity in what we do and trying to have a real heart to help people is the right way, man. And there's a lot of people out there that I think had a good intention in the beginning, like we said, but
Well, they've been through it. They like Sean Kazam. He's another guy.
I don't
Pisses
even
me
know who
off.
that is. Yeah.
He's an anxiety guy. right? He
Okay.
has a PR team, marketing team. They try to figure out what sells, type of thing. And he charges an arm and a cock, and people pay for it, right? And they're selling their cars and shit so they can work with the guy. As soon as you don't pay, you're off. You're fucking done. And
Wow.
that's
Well, that's terrible, man. I hate that.
and that's the
That's
thing. These people know because they've been through it, because they've been triggered, they've been scared, they knew what drew them in, right? And they know that this can be a gift, going through this
yeah,
journey to do good.
yeah,
But somewhere they thought in their head, I know this used to trigger me, and I know this will trigger them. So they're going through this in their head, and they're making the choice.
yeah,
They're crossing that fucking line, right?
yeah,
They're crossing that line to fucking get the sales going in that way. For me, I want to make some money in this too. I want to be
yeah, yeah.
abundant.
There's nothing
I
wrong
want to
with
help a lot
yeah,
of people. But the way I would do it is, do you notice that this isn't working, that isn't working, and with facts, right? Real
yeah,
facts, not the bullshit to sell. But
yeah,
are you sick and tired of dealing with this? Well, it's because of this. Have you noticed
yeah,
it's because of this? Well, come work with us. We can help you. Blah blah blah. But if
yeah,
it's when people are straight up lying and crossing
yeah,
that line on purpose just for the money, not to really help anybody, that to
yeah.
me is
I
a big
believe
kick
in
in the
car.
balls.
I believe in karma, so let karma deal with that. Like I believe when your heart's in the right spot and you act with integrity and
Yeah.
authenticity,
People
you
will
know,
see.
people will see, and that's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
we don't, like I think Josh and you would all agree, all of the suffering, all of the stuff that we go through has a purpose, a grander purpose, beyond just getting, healthy in some unfortunate events. Like there is a larger purpose for everyone. It's different, and I think when then you go on and you heal, and you, instead of using your purpose, like what the illness is there for you, and you go back to, well, let me just make money, or let me do some shady things, like, there's karma in that. I really believe that. It
Right.
may not happen right now or whatever, but like there is a grand design. I think, Josh is more like, well, I believe in
Even
God. I
running
believe.
a business, a carpet
Yeah,
cleaning
yeah,
business, right?
yeah, exactly.
Sure, you want to make money, but you want to make your customers happy. It's
Yep,
about the
yep,
quality. It's a good business,
yep,
you know, practice. You're doing the right morally. You're getting the right customers. Blah 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 blah. I think the
exactly.
same thing, the same attitude should be also in the mind body space. Yeah, sure, you gotta pay your bills. You gotta, why not have good big business practice, and you're caring about the quality of the people you're
Yeah.
helping. I think that's
Uh-huh.
important.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
When
true.
we started off, our whole mission was, I mean, we did it for free. And then we realized that there
Yeah.
is time, that there are
Yeah. We put a
costs.
lot of time in this.
Yeah, fuck.
Helped a lot of people for free. And that's not to say the other people won't. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, look, I know that, like I said, I follow God, like I have a conscience. Like for me, I know that what we're doing helps people,
Yeah.
and I can never rightfully do something that, like, we care about the people that want to heal, because at one time we were those people. And this is another thing, there's a lot of people out there that don't have stories that can be validated. And here's the thing is my story is very, very well documented, as is Joe. Dude, when I was sick, I was in these Lyme communities crying out for help, like asking if anybody else had these symptoms. Like right now, you can get on Facebook and search my name up in any of these support groups, and you'll see me freaking out. Like,
yeah,
does
yeah, yeah,
anybody heart palpitations like this or anything like, I mean,
yeah,
there's videos stuff like that. And that's kind of the thing too, is like we talk about being authentic and in this space, and I now more than ever there are more practitioners, and I'm not a practitioner. I'm a regular dude
mhm,
that started getting his life back and wanted to help people, and I've been
Yeah.
in this for 20 years, as is Joe. And
Mhm.
we even saw this guy giving a webinar for like 5 days for free. And
mhm,
I'm like, man, everybody is trying to make money in this realm, but I'm like, whose heart is actually in this to help heal the person?
Yeah.
And, dude, we still cry on our calls. Like when I see people getting their lives back, like we're
yeah,
not so far removed from the people that we're helping that it's just another paycheck and a drop into our account where we don't even know that person. Like we know every single person in our class. And,
Yeah.
that's what Joe and I've always talked about, is as we continue to grow, maintaining a level of community so that we're not the gurus, the guys sitting on tops of the mountains or sitting in $1 million house with an incredible look off the back thing. We're not
yeah.
trying to get rich. We're trying to help people heal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's the root, and bring awareness, right? Because there's
Yeah.
so much. Oh man, there's still a lot of noise out there where people are getting sucked into and not finding.
Yeah.
It's like we're the unicorns. We found the ways. We're doing the methods, and this is it. This is the shit. And
Yep.
our job is to bring awareness. We're light workers, right? This is
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
mission.
Yep. It really is. It's true. And you know, for any people that are watching this, like I believe this wholeheartedly that this type of healing is healing of the future. So you might as well get on board now. Like, yes, I
Yeah.
think like other medicine will still exist, but I really believe that whatever, 50 years from now, when you go to the doctor, they're going to be like, yo, how are your stress levels? Where's your nervous system at? Are
Yeah.
you doing some of the practices? Are you living in alignment with who you are? Are you, staying in toxic relationships? Are you stressing yourself out and, causing more problems? Like this is really going to be it. And then it's going to be, yeah, maybe you'll get a little Band-Aid prescription, but your prescription is going to be like, go home, get
Yeah.
out in nature, do some regulating practices, get back into joy, finding purpose in your life, happiness, connecting with community, all of that sort of stuff. And I really believe that that's kind of going to be part of, healing and health of the future. And,
Yeah.
that this is the way, and there's a lot of people that are struggling. They don't quite get
Well,
that yet.
hopefully we get to a point where censorship will be dialed down, and we're
Yeah,
get to the point where the pharmaceutical companies won't decide what everybody can listen to and be
yeah,
brainwashed by.
exactly. I
I
hope
think that
so.
we're in a position where that could possibly happen. And, for a doctor to say, hey, put down the Cheetos and go take a walk, that's thing. And I do think that one, it
Bring the
is a
Cheetos
medicine.
with you. Fuck it.
This is the thing is, not only is it the medicine of the future, it's the medicine of the past. Before all these pharmaceutical companies ran everything, like when you went in, I talk about this all the time in class, cardiologists would ask you, what's your stress level like? All right,
Yeah.
what are you eating? What's your exercise regime look like? And even the idea back in the day, like people didn't exercise. They didn't have to exercise because they were constantly moving in
Just
society.
moving your body.
Like
Yeah.
we're walking everywhere, we're
You
we're
can see the
we're
proof pictures of the 70s or 60s. Everybody was somewhat thin. They looked like they were happy. They were outside. Now, you don't see anybody outside. And if you do, they're obese and sick or in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
yeah,
You can see it.
right.
The proof is there.
And this is the thing too, is a lot of these too, these practitioners that are talking about, activating your bunghole or your vagus nerve or whatever the flavor of the week is. And instead of telling people, all right, cool, we know that neuroplasticity is one portion of it. Like if you eat like garbage, you're never going to heal.
Yeah.
Two, if you're sitting in your house doing the work, expecting to get better, you're never going to get better. Like you're just going to sit
Better get
around
out
and
of your house, man.
Yes. It's
you know,
huge.
these
Yeah.
things are not said to people. Like, I think that it's packaged up in such a complex way where people have to, subscribe for longer to understand it. That's what we try to simplify the process. Like, the process is not, it's not complicated. Doing the work is what's complicated, but what you actually have to do to get better is not so complex. It's
Yeah.
just the
No.
work is, it's scary in the beginning for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Yes, uncomfortable, not scary, uncomfortable. Uncomfortable
Well,
is a better
sometimes I
word.
have to remind people. I'm like, just remind yourself that everything you're doing isn't dangerous. Even though it feels like it's dangerous, you're not on
Yeah.
any supplements, you're not on any crazy protocols, you're not taking any special medications. All you're doing, if you think about it, you're going for walks, you're dancing, you're doing some visuals, you're blah 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 blah. These are all things that you'd want to do anyway. Maybe a lifestyle that you'd want to, keep doing.
Yeah.
But it's not dangerous, and sometimes people forget that. They're like, "Oh my God, is this brain retraining going to kill? I feel like I'm dying." But you're not doing anything that's dangerous.
Yeah. It's not. It's all stuff that's like helpful and healthy for you,
Yeah.
for for you to heal, but for the rest of your life. And that's the important part too, is like, all of this stuff, it has to be looked at as like almost like a lifestyle shift. You know what I mean? Like the healing work that we do. Because if you look at it as like a means to get to an end, like I'm just gonna do this until I heal, you're not gonna heal. Like that puts so much pressure and stress to try to force like healing. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this stuff, I'm gonna try it, and hopefully I'm healed within 6 months. If not, I'm gonna go like that. Even just that energy is like stress. That's like
Yeah.
stress on your shoulder, just being like, oh,
Pressure.
you gotta get better in 6 months. I saw this program that said they got better in 6 months. Meanwhile, you also don't know that they were doing nervous system regulation for the prior 5 years prior to that. They created their program in 6 months and then got
Yeah.
better. You know what I mean? Like that's the lies and stuff like that. So when you look at it, it's like, all right, I'm gonna do all this stuff. as an act of, self-care, self-love, and I'm going to change my lifestyle to one that is conducive to healing and that helps me heal. Then you take that timeline and that pressure off, and that actually helps you heal like faster, which is weird. It's like slow, when you take the pressure off, when you take that stress off, then healing happens easier and faster. When you're like, oh my God, I gotta be better by 6 months so that I can go travel or whatever. And it's like, hey, go to
Or
travel anyway.
relationships. Relationships is a big
Yeah,
thing that puts pressure on people. I better hurry up and heal, or my husband's gonna leave me.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
not
you're walking
good.
on eggshells,
I've
Yeah,
seen that.
right? Oh
Sure.
yeah, I
Pressure,
see it all the
pressure,
time.
pressure keeps you sick.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%. This is what we tell people all the time is you change what you're able to and you accept what you can't. Like, why waste time trying to fix something that you can't fix? So focus on what you can fix, let the other stuff happen, maybe formulate a plan. We see a lot of men and women come in the class and they're in a toxic relationship and they feel like that's part of the reason for their dysregulation. And maybe you can't get out of that relationship right away, um, after knowing that it can't be restored because it's been so toxic. So you have to unfortunately accept part of it, put up safeguards, and focus on your healing. Make that the priority, and then formulate a long-term plan to get out of whatever situation it is. Because if you
they
try,
have to make the hard decisions. They
yeah,
have
you
to
yeah,
do
do.
it. People
Yeah,
are in denial. It seems like I talk to him like, I can't work with you because I talked to you a year ago, 6 months ago, and you're still doing the same thing, and you're
same
finding
here.
excuses. Well, no, I think I don't think he'll cheat on me again. No, I think we're gonna work on it, and I wanna. I'm like, well, you're not. Honestly, you have tigers in the room with you,
Yeah,
sleeping with you, walking with you everywhere. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah.
until you make that change, there's nothing I can help you with.
Yeah, that stress, that constant stress, you can't heal that way. You know what I mean? And it's hard for people to take that look at like, where they're contributing to keeping themselves sick. It's always, oh, it's Lyme, it's long COVID, it's chronic fatigue syndrome. It's not, hey, I'm contributing to my stress by staying in a toxic relationship, by sitting here focusing on fear and stress all day, by watching the news that's causing my cortisol to jump, that, whatever, all of these things, by staying sedentary in my house. Like they don't want to take a hard look at that and be like, I got to change these habits because this is contributing to keeping me sick. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do is just be like,
It is.
yo, all right, where am I contributing to keeping myself sick? And then being like, damn, well, I sit in bed all day and I use my phone and doom scroll, and then I,
Yep.
check the news, and then they're telling me that this person's evil or that person's evil, and that's feeding my nervous system dysregulation. And then I eat this terrible toxic food and I don't move my body at all. And then
What about ruminating about what your husband
yeah,
did last
yeah,
night? And you're
yeah,
fucking doing the
exactly.
dishes, ruminating all fucking day because you're
Yep.
not you're not out in
Yeah.
nature. You don't have a routine. All you do is fucking ruminate, and then you get wait till he gets home, and you're like ready to fight. You're in that
Yeah,
fight mode.
yeah, exactly. You can't, it's impossible to heal that way. It really is. Now, that's not to say like healthy stress is part of healing. Like you're gonna like you said, I've had people pass away in my life over the last 2 years. I've been through some relationships that were not necessarily the greatest for my, nervous system that I had to cut out. I've had, we've had financial stress and things like that. That's just part of living. Like that's just part of life. So that's part of the healing journey as well. It's just understanding what stress you can control and what stress is just natural that you got to work through with, utilizing some of the tools and just working through it, working like stress unfortunately is part of life.
Yep.
It does, you don't have to stay,
Curveballs. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. It'll keep throwing you curveballs. So that's why it has to become somewhat of a lifestyle. That is not a program or the work, or I'm constantly. It should be something that you're enjoying to do.
yeah,
Like I do visuals
exactly,
still. It's been 4.5
yeah,
years.
same.
I love doing my visuals. I
I
love
do it
going for
every,
my walks.
yeah,
Right.
same.
You know what? Now I do it to manifest and create the life that I want and to
Yeah,
get in tune.
exactly.
I get in tune with myself. I test shit out, right? It's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. I'm going deeper, more spiritual now. So it's
Hmm.
it's great.
Yep. That's how it is for me too. Like, I mean, this all this stuff is just part of my lifestyle. I'm not completely, I think Josh would say same thing. Like, I'm not completely healed, and that's the thing is like, but I live a normal, completely normal life. I do whatever, and also in some ways, I kind of push the limits a little bit of what, some like I went and raced my car last weekend in autocross. Like I have
Nice.
fun, I enjoy life. I go to concerts, skateboard, I, play sports. I live my life. But then there are still times where symptoms flare up a little bit more, usually due to stress, things that I
Yeah.
can't control, things like that, but I just work through it now. I think it's like that's the way to heal when you kind of just it becomes part of your life. The symptoms and the things as you heal, naturally they fall away and you don't even realize it because you're kind of just living. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
this is how I healed in the past. It was like I was so back into life and living that as I healed in the past, I was doing the regulating tools, but I was so
Right.
busy with living and life that the symptoms fell away. And I remember like, this was back in like 2000, maybe 10 or 11, when after I'd healed, you know, I was like, I didn't even realize that I healed. I was like, it was
Yeah.
a process of many of years. And I was like, wait, I really haven't even had symptoms for months. But it wasn't like this one day where I'm like, oh, I'm healed. It was just like, geez, I didn't even realize like they just naturally fall away because I was living, I was doing the things that I loved. I was back in school, getting my degree. I was, living life, enjoying life, skating, working out, whatever, and doing all that. And that's the way to heal, really, is like bring the symptoms with you, live your
Yeah.
life, and then and do the regulating tools and the things that bring you joy, and the symptoms just naturally fall away. And you don't even necessarily realize that you're healing as you do that. You feel better, but it's not like this grand, aha moment, it just naturally happens. Yeah.
Exactly. For me, and I try to remember this when I was going through it. To get to that point in the beginning, it's very difficult because the brain wants to keep you hunkered down. It
Yeah.
doesn't like you doing any movement forward, backward. Just it knows you're alive here, so let's keep you there. So for me, it was like I have to try to convince people that's prime time to follow your schedule. When the
Yeah.
brain goes, take it easy today. No, it's too hard. Anxiety's ramping up. No, we got to stay in. Don't go out, please. And then you're like, yeah, that one guru told me to take it easy on myself. I should self-soothe and just sleep for 3 days. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's prime time. That's when you, especially that's the time when you stick to your schedule because you're really your brain's open. It's listening. It's going, huh?
Yeah.
Right? That's when it's prime time. That's when you do the walk. That's when you
Yep.
go out and do the social event. That's when you,
Yep.
especially then, right? And then and for me, I stuck to my schedule, my life schedule, no matter on the good days and the bad days. Well,
Same.
mostly bad days. It was
Yeah.
mostly bad days,
Same.
right?
Yeah. Especially at the beginning, it's mostly bad days, and
Yeah.
you just gotta you stick with it through the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, and that's the thing is like sometimes, in our class and stuff like that, people are really resistant on the bad days. Like, oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I do the work when I feel like it, but then like when the symptoms flare up, I'm just taking it easy today. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
that's actually the time when you actually go out of your comfort zone and do some of the things. That's a time where, now you can make the biggest change because your brain's wanting to keep you safe. And you're
Yeah.
saying, no, 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 actually, I'm safe right now, and I'm going to show you that I'm safe. And it doesn't mean
Right.
symptoms go away, but that's how you recreate and change the pathways and actually
Yeah.
show safety in your body.
You need
And
the
let's talk.
symptom to change it. You
Yeah,
need it
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
Let's talk about what really taking it easy looks like. It means getting out of your house, going into nature, throwing up a hammock, and being surrounded. It doesn't mean sitting in your house, doom scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
yeah,
Way to being victim by your symptoms and fear. Like, get out. Like, you can do the same thing outside. Throw your hammock up, go put your feet in the grass, go do something constructive other than sit in your couch and scroll on your phone for hours. That's not rest. That's false dopamine. That's going to keep you sick.
yeah. So
And
true.
when you do that, you're opening yourself for the brain to fucking hijack you. When you're
Yeah,
at home, all of a sudden, you can try all you want. You might be able to keep it at bay for an hour or two, but if you're at home
yeah,
for 8 hours, the brain's gonna win. It has to win. That's its job. Because if it
yeah.
didn't win, there'd be something wrong with you. It's gotta protect you for the perceived danger. So it's gonna
Mhm.
win. So this is where preparation is really important, right? Really being prepared and having the schedule. So that's like, what am I supposed to do right at 2 o'clock? Oh, I'm supposed to go for my walk. Let's go. Let's bring the thoughts and feelings,
Yeah,
symptoms with me, right? Because then you're gonna have a success down the road. But if you're
yeah,
at home, sitting on the couch, the rate of success is minus fucking 2.5, right?
Yeah. Everyone that I've ever seen that has gotten better has made their house the place where they sleep and eat.
Right. Exactly.
Otherwise, they are out of their house,
Outside, out the
outside
fucking
doing
door.
whatever. Yeah, and this is when I was like when I relapsed because I fell into bad habits, as we all do when we first get diagnosed, and then I learned how to heal myself. But when I relapsed 3 years ago, there was one thing that stuck with me, even when I was in my worst situation and the anxiety and the depression and the DPDR and all that sort of stuff was like so heavy. And even at that time, like I struggled to walk, but there was one thing that always stuck with me: do not stay in your house. So I lived in Washington, D.C. at the time, and this is when me and Josh like reconnected. And literally the only time that I felt any sort of relief, I would go on these long ass walks in the middle of the city and there'd be sirens and
Yeah.
stuff because I lived in
Exposure.
Northeast Washington, D.C. But I remember, and it would be cold. It was in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
All I could do that could help me, and I knew it because anytime I would go to my house, the symptoms, I could feel them worse. I felt like, man, I felt trapped in there. And so it was like I knew like I can't stay in my house. I gotta go walk. I gotta go sit in the park. I gotta go, just go into stores if I need to. I gotta,
Yeah.
just be outside, bundle up. I'd bundle up in my coat and put like herbal tea in my cup and just go walk down this
Well, that's
path.
the thing. People have excuses. Well, it's kind of cold. I can't because it's cold out. I hate the winter. It's depressing. I don't go out. I'm gonna wait till the spring. It's like okay, I get it. I didn't like the winter when I first started, but I eventually, a couple of months, I was walking 10 kilometers, fucking in the snow,
Yeah,
sleet, fucking hail. My face was, half numb. My hands were moving slow because they were so frozen, yeah, right,
yeah,
with the gloves on. And I love the winter. See, no matter what, you
yeah,
got to get outside. If it's hot, cold, whatever it is,
yeah,
do it anyway.
exactly. Completely agree, man. Like we're all,
I think people think that it seems like, oh, you're saying something as simple as getting outside has such a it absolutely has a profound effect.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
not right away, and sometimes right away, but generally people, oh, I took a walk and I don't feel better. These guys are idiots. No, do it consistently. It's
Yeah.
like all these things they stack together. You lay the foundation for
Yeah.
healing, but they think, and it's been told, oh, it's okay to go rest today. And it is like if you're running a fever, by all means go rest. But
Yeah.
laying around consistently is so terrible for your body. It's the most dangerous thing that you can do is being stagnant all day and not moving your body
Yeah.
is
Oh.
dangerous than eating all the trans fats in the world. Like it's
And
just
before
so
I got into this, before I got sick, that's what I was doing. I'd go to work, come back home, smoke a
yeah,
cigarette,
yeah,
rot in front of the TV, eat shit, go to sleep, and do it every fucking day, and be
yeah,
miserable. I was fucking angry and miserable all the time.
yeah,
I never thought, I'm like, let's go for a walk. I'm like, nah, maybe tomorrow.
yeah,
Now I'm
yeah,
like, I could not even imagine myself rotting in front of the TV and not going for a walk. Like that gives me a little anxiety even thinking about you're not going to do nothing. You're going to stay in. Oh
yeah.
no, you got to go outside. I got to go outside.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, when I remember I got a virus like 3, 4 months ago, and I like literally was like I had to sleep for like 12 to 18 hours those days. I had like 103 fever, but
Yeah.
like it reminded me of like, yo, this is when you need the rest and all of that. And as soon as I started feeling a little bit better, I was back out doing my walks, even with a little bit of a fever and all that stuff. And I was just like, this is how you heal. You need the sunlight. You need the exposure to nature. You cannot heal in the four walls of your house. Like you just can't. I just don't believe that. Everyone that I see heal, like we talked about it before on one of our calls, is like you find that thing, whatever that thing is, that pulls you out of your house that you do. And maybe it's multiple things. Like for me, I go to the park, I put my hammock up, I skateboard, I go to my cafe, I get my matcha, I
Mm.
go, do car stuff. I go to car shows, I go whatever, go to see concerts. Like, so there's multiple things, but like, instead of just sitting here and just waiting around until there's like, I feel like doing this stuff. It's like, yo, this is, it's I take action anyway. I take my symptoms on with me if they're ever, loud, and I just do it anyway. And that's the thing that we see with a lot of people when they have those big shifts in life, in their healing journey. It's because they do that. They'll still be doing the nervous system work, but they find that thing or multiple things that gets them out of the house, distracts them from the symptoms, And like that's some of
Well,
the
that's
most
another thing.
yeah,
Making this mind body thing a fucking an event where it's constantly that's all they
yeah,
talk about. That's all they think about. They watch all the success stories, all the TMS groups or whatever, and it's like that's health, mind body, mind body, mind body. Well, for sure you're doing the mind body stuff, but the rest of the day, even during, live life.
yeah,
Take a
live
break.
life.
Stop
That's
watching
it.
these.
Simplified. Healing simplified. Go
Yeah,
live your life.
stop
Yeah.
watching Dan Buglio for a fucking day. Give him a break for a bit.
Exactly. Yep, yep.
If there was one piece of advice that you'd give somebody who's watching this, what would it be? Let's go with Joe. What do you got?
Yeah, I would say, um, do not let your symptoms control your life, and find joy each and every day, whatever that is. Whatever that is for you. For me, I'm a 41-year-old man. I still skateboard. Like part of what I had to do was get back into to activities and fun hobbies that I love
Yes.
to do, and get back into those things. That was like such a big part of my life, and to not stop living your life. Not like don't stay stagnant, keep moving forward, not in a forceful way, but just like show your body that you're moving in the direction of health, through your actions and through what you do on a daily basis. That's it. Really, that's it. It can be boiled down to that. So,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Josh, what you got?
I think for me, and I repeat this often in class, is just that no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to pull you off the couch. No doctor's coming to bring this miracle treatment to get you better. No one's going to hand deliver a program that's going to make you better. No program's going to save you. Like it ultimately comes down to you. There's not going to be some significant other that loves you enough that's going to make you get better. It is on you. And I think so often people with chronic illness, we want that doctor or we want that person. And rightfully so. We've been sick for so long,
Yeah.
we feel like we deserve that, but it's not coming. So stop waiting for that. And the second part of that is stop waiting for a healthy moment to get up and do the work. You're going to
yeah,
have to do it sick, afraid, and scared. And that's where
Yes.
you start.
yeah,
Don't wait until you have that, oh, I'm having a good day. And then you start to do it. No, do it when it's bad, then it's easy when it's hard,
yeah,
like, and just that's it. Try to find some support people around you. But if you can't, do it alone, do it afraid, do it scared, do it anxious, do it depressed, whatever you got to do, just do it and keep building every single day. Consistency is the key if you want to get better.
yeah,
Amazing. Well, I had a blast with you guys today. We got to do this again. I was even thinking that we should have a panel of like kind of how Pierce Morgan does it, and have one guy that has a different view, and then we can go at
yeah.
it. That'd be fun. That'd be
That
good.
would be fun. Yeah.
You guys are
Maybe
into it. Let's do
maybe
it up, man.
maybe you can invite that doctor friend you were talking about.
Yeah, I should, eh? Fuck, there's a couple people I wouldn't mind inviting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good
All right,
chatting with
guys.
you, man. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
We'll do
Having
this
fun
again.
chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.